National Guard Youth Challenge Academy Color Guard presents the colors, and Tracy Hamlin sings the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Please welcome to the stage Rabbi Hannah Goldstein from Temple Sinai, Sister Vivian Alvarado from Masjid Muhammad, the nation's mosque, and Reverend Monica Rains from the Christ United Methodist Church.
This week, Jews around the world begin reading the book of Leviticus, or in Hebrew, Vayikra. Its Hebrew name comes from its first word, Vayikra. Vayikra el Moshe, God called out to Moses. God told Moses, Daber el Bnei Yisrael, speak to the Israelite people. Vayikra, God called out to the people. God called them into community, from the wood choppers to the water carriers, the shepherds to the schleppers, from the infants to the elders. Vayikra, everyone was assembled to stand together and to answer God's call. Vayikra, tonight we are called as we gather for the state of the district We are called into citizenship. We are called into deep participation in the life of our city. We are called to love our neighbors next door, down the street, and in all 8 wards. We are called to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, shelter the homeless, care for the widow and the orphan. We are called to participate in that sacred ritual of democracy, to vote and to work so that sometime soon those votes might be represented down the street at the Capitol. Vayikra, tonight we are called to honor those who have answered the call to serve. And we seek blessings on them, on Mayor Bowser and her staff and advisors. We seek blessings on all those who serve our city, our sanitation workers and our crossing guards, our firefighters and our police officers, our bus drivers and our taxi drivers and our metro drivers, our teachers. We ask for blessings on all who have accepted the call to serve in our city. Vayikra. We seek blessings on all of us who have answered the call to be here tonight. We seek blessings on our sweet city, steeped in history, awash in change. We pray for the wisdom to protect its history and the foresight to build for its future. May our city be blessed with peace. May our city be blessed with prosperity. And may each and every one of our city's sacred dwellers be the source and the recipient of abundant blessing.
God, the merciful, the wise, the most high possessor of greatness. The same God for all of us who created us all and cares about us all equally. We stand and humbly beseech your divine providence and invoke your blessings upon all gathered here. Upon our city, upon the leadership of Mayor Muriel Bowser, and upon her State of the District address regarding the health of our great city. As a 5th-generation Washingtonian, our mayor, being a product of and standing upon the souls of the past and present residents, those who've invested in and have helped to sustain and lift up our city. We expect to hear about the progress from her determination to better the critical circumstances affecting the future of the district's residents, on rebuilding quality and safe neighborhoods, healthy living, transforming our schools, and improving educational opportunity, strengthening the district's housing market, continuing strategic investments and public infrastructure, and that our economy continues to improve and is one of the strongest of any in the nation, thus contributing to advancing the commitment to getting our unemployed residents to work so that their time and talent will be used to help strengthen and build this city. As a city in which every resident is welcome to participate and compete with the best of its populace to make it the model for the nation. Investing in the people, helping the least. For any time you invest in the people, you help lift them up to the point where they discover the best in themselves, their potential, their own worth, and subsequently become not a healthy, powerful resource to themselves, but also to this great city. Almighty God, a young leader myself, as our city continues to grow and become younger, bless this city continue to be reflective of e pluribus unum, the many diverse expressions of human life that have and are contributing to the beauty and strength to this city. And lastly, Almighty God, we thank you for the desires of this leadership, that all she does and does be in accord with your will, that you sustain her health and well-being, uphold her demonstrated love and concern for the betterment of this great city, and strengthen her leadership in its commitments to you and to the realization of the great aspirations DC residents have to move the city forward. With your name, Amen.
Sisters and brothers, let us pray. O great and wise God, we thank you for yet another opportunity to come together in the spirit of love and fellowship and sisterhood and brotherhood. God, we thank you that you have allowed us to come together today to celebrate all that has happened in the great District of Columbia. God, through the ups and the downs, you have walked with us, God, through the celebrations, God, through the tragedies, God, though we know, God, that you have great things for us. We celebrate, God, all that the great policemen and firefighters and politicians and ward leaders and our great mayor, God, and all that they have done. But God, even so, we mourn the many Black bodies that have been found, God. We mourn when justice is not done. We mourn, God, when we don't live up to the people you have called us to be. So God, as we come together to celebrate all that you have done, we ask that your spirit is ever present with us, that we never stop to continue to seek justice, God, and that we live righteously every day of our lives. God, touch our mayor. God, touch every police officer, every firefighter, every teacher, every superintendent, every school teacher, God, and everybody who is working to make our city a better place to live in. That we may offer a fair wage to our workers, God, that we may have a safe city, a safe metro system, a better bus system, God, that whatever it is that we need to do to make our city better, that we will be faithful to the job and the task that you have called us to. And now, God, we give you great thanks and we bless you in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Please welcome to the stage Ronald Mason, President of the University of the District of Columbia.
Good evening. On behalf of our Board of Trustees, the following of whom are in attendance: Chairperson Christopher Bell, Dr. Charlene Drew Jarvis, James Dyke, Reginald Felton, and Anthony Tard, as well as our foundation board members in attendance: Chairman Joe Perta, Doug Furstenberg, and Christine Warnke. And on behalf of our faculty, staff, students, and alumni, welcome to the campus of your university, the University of the District of Columbia. The public institution of higher learning in and for the nation's capital. We offer a special welcome to the members of the District Council under the leadership of Chairman Mendelson, who is also our Oversight Committee Chairman. We thank them for their support as we continue to enhance the educational and other services we provide not only to our students, but to the community of the district as a whole. Most importantly, we offer a warm welcome to our mayor, Mayor Muriel Bowser. We thank her for her strong support over the past 2 years and for recognizing that public education, including public higher education, is indispensable to closing the income and wealth gap, perhaps the greatest challenge to our future as a resilient, sustainable, and equitable community. We look forward to being a member of Team Bowser over the next 4 years and doing our part to help her put more and more district residents on the pathway to the middle class. Again, welcome to your university, the University of the District of Columbia.
It's a new day in Washington, a fresh start. We will build a government that this city deserves.
It's really, really wonderful to have the mayor and the administration decide to commit and to invest in this island.
This project will create cleaner waterways within the district.
We are happy and excited that you chose our school to kick off the DC's fall leaf collection season and to teach our city about the benefits of composting pumpkins.
Crime is decreasing here in our city. So in 2017, we experienced a reduction in every single crime category for the calendar year.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser, for being here with us to kick off Alleypalooza 6.
It's just another improvement that we were looking for. We're happy residents of Petworth.
We also want to say thank you to the community. Thank you for continuing to welcome us.
The MPD enthusiastically urges everyone who is eligible to take advantage of Mayor Bowser's voucher program.
You've got an affordable housing component. You've got a new fire station, which we're standing in. This project is truly unique in being able to provide affordable housing.
Because of Mayor Bowser and her commitment to affordable home ownership, my children and I secured our future when I became a homeowner.
This experience has helped me to get on my feet, and I really appreciate it, and we're excited, so thank you.
Housing for low-income families, housing for the homeless, housing for veterans. Your program sets a model for the nation.
It's really exciting, we're ready to get this thing going and, excited for the fans to be in the new stadium.
Proper training programs like the one being introduced today will ensure these individuals will have the skills necessary to gain and maintain employment.
Welcome to Shop Made in DC.
It's really exciting to see our city government support this class of entrepreneurs.
We're proud to offer her full-time employment, and she's done an amazing job.
Every single classroom right now is filled with a great teacher.
Y'all know why I'm here? Because a high school teacher saved my life, man. Real talk.
Sousa let students like me have a voice.
We are truly committed to providing high-quality childcare in this city.
We are one of DCPS's 11 extended year schools, and each day we purposely take advantage of the additional time we have with our children.
I would like to thank Mayor Bowser for coming to Garfield Elementary School today and having lunch with us.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Janelle Thompson, a proud Ward 7 resident. Tonight, I'm joined by my son, Cooper Brisbane, who is better known as the district's 700,000th resident. I'm happy to let you all know that as of today, Cooper is 3 weeks old and quite skilled at eating, sleeping, and blinking. I've spent my entire life living in Washington, D.C., and I never imagined having the opportunity to meet the mayor, let alone introduce her on such an important night. I am excited that Cooper is going to be able to grow up in a safer Washington. He'll have a better education, more places to eat and play, and more options than ever to get around. Because of the city's progress, I can embrace motherhood with confidence, knowing that Cooper will have a fair shot at being successful. Thank you, Mayor Bowser, for all you have done to preserve the district's history and culture while ensuring that we remain safe, strong, diverse, and inclusive. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Well, hello, Washington, D.C. Hello. Isn't it lovely to be here at our university, the University of the District of Columbia? I am proud to be here to deliver my 4th State of the District address. So let us thank Ms. Thompson, 3 weeks from giving birth, for that wonderful introduction. And 3 weeks ago, when Cooper, her son, was just 1 day old, we recognized him and his family for helping Washington, D.C. become 700,000 residents strong. And we haven't been that big in Washington since around the time I was born. Now, I know that seems like just yesterday, but really it was just a little while ago. And to meet Cooper and to chat with his mom and dad, I was reminded of a simple truth. Washingtonians across the city want very similar things. We all want safe neighborhoods for our families, with schools and child care centers that will set our children and teens up for success. We want housing that is safe and affordable, and we want jobs that allow us to take care of ourselves and our family with wages that allow us to enjoy life and to give back. From Ward 1 to Ward 8, we share these hopes and dreams. And something else we share. In every corner of our city, people are proud. They are proud to be Washingtonians. And it's no wonder why. Our neighborhoods are strong. We've come a long way since our control board days, and the district's finances are in the best shape they've ever been in. And from sports and entertainment to restaurants and playgrounds, we are a city that has something for everyone. We have accomplished a great deal together, and we have a great deal to be proud of. So tonight, my fellow Washingtonians, it is with great pride that I tell you the state of the district is strong. In fact, the district is doing so well that I am the envy of many mayors across the United States of America. They look at our talented workforce, our balanced budgets, our thriving nightlife, and vibrant neighborhoods, and they say, that's what we want for our city too. But I know, and all of you know, that we have worked hard for everything that we have. And that's why we have to stay focused on the day-to-day operations of our city, the trash pickup, the rat abatement, the pothole repairs. We're also focused on exploring the big ideas that will keep Washington, D.C. moving forward and at the forefront of innovation and change. So along with the mayor of Metro, Jack Evans, and all of you, we're going all in and fully funding Metro for our future. At $178 million, the amount of the district needs to contribute to finally solve the dedicated revenue problem that has held our system back for years and years. And I'm proud that I'm the mayor and this is the government that will get it done. But we're also going to continue to work on other big ideas like autonomous vehicles with Councilmember Che, and even bigger ideas like the Hyperloop. We're doubling down on workforce development and apprenticeship programs that train DC residents for the jobs available in DC right now. We're also going to stay focused on attracting fast-growing and innovative companies like Fiscal Note and Yelp that will provide good-paying jobs for years to come. We're doing this all because we don't want to take our growth and prosperity for granted, and because we want Washington, D.C., the Washington, D.C. that Cooper will live in decades from now, to even be more successful than the Washington, D.C. we live in today. And of course, for all of our city's growth and prosperity, we still have our challenges. Some of our challenges are similar to those faced by other cities like ours across the country, and other challenges are unique to us, like our lack of representation in our vote in Congress, our vote in the House of Representatives, and our representation in the Senate. Sometimes our challenges are unique because we get over-the-top requests, like the unnecessary military parade that some people want to have in our city. And in a way, these unique challenges make us stronger too. So when the Congress and White House have tested our values, which they do often, we have repeatedly stood up for our DC values. Chairman Mendelson and Attorney General Racine and residents in all 8 wards have been fighting back, and we're going to fight with them every single day. Soon we will join Americans from across the country led by a group of courageous teenagers from Parkland, Florida. They are coming together to say enough is enough. And for too long, gun violence has wreaked havoc on communities across our nation. And so-called leaders in Congress have accepted the status quo as the only way forward. Many have blamed victims and accused entire neighborhoods of just not caring enough. And all along, those with the power to make a change have falsely believed that sending condolences or pointing fingers is the same as taking action. But now we are demanding action. We demand action for Vivian Morrow, a grandmother, a beloved neighbor who was shot and killed in her wheelchair just last year. We demand action for Stephen Slaughter, who was shot and killed in our city. He was only 14 years old. And action for every member of our community who has been affected by gun violence. A few weeks ago, I introduced a piece of legislation that will ban the sale and possession of bump stocks in Washington, D.C. And last week, our Congresswoman, our champion on the Hill, Eleanor Holmes Norton, who is with us tonight, we called out Senator Marco Rubio for continuing to push legislation in Congress that would gut our local laws by legalizing assault weapons and high-capacity magazines and even allowing these guns in our schools. It's bad enough that Senator Rubio is the worst kind of example of saying one thing to his constituents at home and doing another thing when he comes here to Washington. What makes his legislation particularly egregious is that he continues to move it forward, even as he calls for more sensible gun control nationwide. That, my friends, is hypocrisy in action. And that, my friends, is what it looks like when you legislate without values. How can we be for legalizing assault weapons and lowering their age to buy guns in DC and be for school safety in Florida? With our partner on a Safer, Stronger DC, Councilmember Charles Allen and I say to Senator Rubio, leave us alone and keep your hands off of DC. This is not the only way we will stand with and stand up for our young people and their families. President Trump has eliminated funding for the DC Tuition Assistance Grant in his proposed budget. So we are calling on Congress, and we know our Congresswoman is on the job, to fully fund this program that has already given more than 26,000 young people the opportunity to pursue their dreams in the 10 college. For many students and their families, DC TAG meant the difference between the end of the road and a new extraordinary opportunity. And if the federal government can spend $30 million on a military parade, we can certainly spend $40 million sending our kids to college. We also call on Congress to end incessant attempts to repeal and dismantle the Affordable Care Act. Americans need solutions on health care, and just fighting something for the sake of fighting, it just doesn't make sense. But we're not just waiting on Congress to act. Locally, we are taking our own steps to ensure Washingtonians have the insurance they need by establishing a local DC individual responsibility requirement. Just as we did when I signed the mayor's order recommitting the district to the goals of the Paris Climate Accord, with this mandate, we will protect the legacy of President Barack Obama and the health of DC residents. And we also call on Congress and the President to find a safe path forward for thousands of long-term residents who have legally lived, worked, and built their lives here in the United States of America under TPS. I said 4 years ago that I wanted to get local DC back on the international map. I never imagined back then that this work would involve defending our country's reputation abroad and reminding foreign leaders that we are more than our president. But here we are. So in July, I will travel to El Salvador to begin a sister city relationship with San Salvador. As President Trump builds walls, we will continue to strengthen relationships. But regardless of what the federal government decides to do or not to do, I can promise you that Washington, D.C., we will continue building a city that works for everyone. We're taking care of our growing families and young children by putting more money in the budget. An additional $12.5 million to be exact will help us create more quality childcare options for parents. This will include a $10 million increase for the rates we pay childcare providers to ensure that they stay open and create new seats for infants and toddlers. Remember, Cooper. We also know that childcare is expensive. So in my upcoming budget, I am creating a new refundable tax credit to help lower the cost of childcare in Washington, D.C. If you don't already receive a child care subsidy from us, we'll provide a $1,000 refundable tax credit per child for parents who enroll their children in one of our licensed child care facilities. And not to forget our senior seasoned residents. As Councilmember Todd always reminds me, we've got to take care of our seniors, Mayor. And together we're doing just that by expanding our Safe at Home program. We're going to also fund a new wellness center in Ward 8. We'll increase funding for Transport DC and fund new permanent supportive housing units for seniors. For those seniors with a homestead deduction, we will also reduce by half the amount that they pay, that their property tax assessment can go up in any given year by half. The district is getting more expensive, especially for those on fixed incomes. This is an important step in ensuring that longtime homeowners can age with dignity in their homes. I hope, too, that this is one small way to acknowledge the investment they have made in creating the place we all love to call home. Aging well means living well, and we're committed to making sure Washingtonians age well in the best city in the world. We also know that for people of every age, living well means staying healthy. So this year, we will announce a partnership to build a new hospital on the St. Elizabeth's campus. With this partnership, once and for all, we will create a self-sustaining, state-of-the-art health facility that will provide residents with a hospital they can be proud of, with every level of care that they deserve. Councilmember Gray and I won't accept anything less. I will also introduce legislation that will help ensure every pregnant woman in Washington, D.C. receives patient-centered, high-quality prenatal care, and every newborn receives high-quality neonatal care. This legislation we call the Babies Bill. It would allow us to invest in our programs that reduce the number of babies who are born too soon, set up measures to track prenatal care and newborn health outcomes at each of the district's birthing centers, form a single advisory board of experts tasked with informing how we care for moms and babies in Washington, D.C., and make sure all D.C. government buildings are baby-friendly for our employees and visitors alike. These efforts, coupled with the Council's legislation to address maternal mortality, are moving us in the right direction and helping us build a safer, stronger, and healthier DC. And make no mistake, Washington, D.C. is getting safer. Our streets are safer than ever. Crime is at record lows, with violent crime down 26% since 2014. But still, we all know this: any homicide is too many. Any robbery, burglary on your block, to your neighbor, to your friend, is one too many. And we have to drive it all down. And so for all of our communities and neighborhoods that continue to be harmed by violence, we know we have more work to do. By taking a smart, holistic approach to public safety, we build on our progress. By expanding our MPD cadet program from 70 cadets to 100 cadets, we will bolster our community policing efforts, and we will ensure that DC residents become MPD police officers. The cadet program helps high school graduates become MPD recruits by coming right here to the University of the District of Columbia on a full scholarship, while also working for MPD. It allows us to recruit and retain high-quality officers like Officer Pamela Garay that already know DC and are invested in bettering the neighborhoods they come from and live in. But no matter how talented our officers are, public safety is about more than just policing. We know that oftentimes violence has roots in trauma, addiction, and access to opportunity. So my administration is committed to finding solutions to violence and tools that we used to reserve just for public health. In October, we opened the new Safer, Stronger DC Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, affectionately known as the ONES Office. It is an outgrowth of Kenya McDuffie's NEAR Act. Let's give Kenya McDuffie a big round of applause. With this office, we are engaging directly with residents who are caught up in violence and meeting them wherever they are, whether they're in their homes, on the streets, whether it's night or day or in the weekend, and whether they are ready for change, we go to them where they are to help them get a new start. This team uses restorative justice principles to diffuse tensions and redirect violence before it ends in tragedy. In my upcoming budget, we will expand the office's reach by funding partnerships with community-based nonprofits that know our neighborhoods and know how violence in our neighborhoods can be prevented. In just a few weeks, we will launch a partnership between MPD and the Department of Behavioral Health. When police are called to respond to someone experiencing a mental health crisis, they will be able to respond with a mental health clinician. And through this program, individuals in crisis will be treated and diverted rather than arrested and detained. And this is what public safety in 2018 should look like. And we are proud to be at the forefront of expanding how big cities think about and invest in keeping residents safe. And it is not just public safety where we're leading the way on smarter solutions and more inclusive policies. We're also leading through our efforts to end chronic homelessness. I ran for mayor in 2014, the same year our city faced an immeasurable tragedy in the disappearance of young Relisha Rudd. There are many unanswered questions about what happened to Relisha, But one thing we know for sure is that today, she should be doing the things that little girls do in our city. But she is not. Because the system failed Relisha, and we must never let a child fall through the cracks again. So coming into office, I promised that we would close DC General and replace it with smaller, dignified programs throughout all 8 wards that do more to support our most vulnerable families. This year, we will make good on that commitment. DC General will close forever. Some people may think we're moving too quickly or that we're trying to free up land. But let me say this, so let me be clear. When it comes to closing DC General, we cannot move fast enough. That shelter is an embarrassment to our city, and I will not be the mayor who passes up on the opportunity to demolish it. That has been my plan since day one, and that is my plan still. Our plan to make homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring is working. Over the past 3 years, we have prevented a shelter stay for more than 5,000 families. We've increased investments in permanent supportive housing programs by nearly 60%. And we have connected 3,900 single adults to permanent supportive housing, including 1,700 veterans. Now, this is good progress, but Councilmember Nadeau tells me always it's not enough, and we can and must do more to end chronic homelessness in our city. We know there's more work to do. And at the end of the day, we know that the best way to end homelessness is by building and preserving affordable housing. This year alone, we allocated $1 billion, and I repeat, $1 billion to programs and efforts that will make living in the district more affordable for everyone. From turning vacant properties into workforce housing, into providing property tax relief that will allow more of our seniors to age in place, we are laser focused on housing. Since 2015, we have delivered more than 5,300 units of affordable housing, and over the next 5 years, we plan to deliver at least 10,000 more. In the coming weeks, you will learn more about Roots to Roofs DC, a follow-up to my African American prosperity initiatives, and a renewed effort to connect residents new and old to the many housing programs we have available. The idea behind this initiative is simple. As Washington, D.C. grows, we're going to make room for everyone, especially our residents who put down roots long ago. Councilmember Bonds has been a true champion of these efforts, and I want to thank you, Anita, for being the council member at large for housing. We all know that in a hot city like ours, one that encompasses a mere 68 square miles, solving the affordable housing challenge will require more thinking outside the box and more working together as a community. While we continue to make unprecedented investments and design stronger policies, DC is going to continue to grow, so there is more work for all of us to do. When we talk about housing, we must also talk about jobs. Because for most people, there is no one pathway to the middle class. There are many things that have to come together, and they must come together at the right time. It's not jobs or housing we're talking about. It's jobs and housing. So we're making sure Washingtonians have the skills and knowledge they need to fill the jobs our city's growth is creating. We are doing this by creating great programs like LEAP and Career Connections and Aspire. We're also improving project empowerment so it does a better job of giving our residents a second chance. That's what Robert White and I have talked about. How do we give more DC residents a second chance? And as of this week, we're doing it through our new DC Infrastructure Academy. Coming into office, I said I would launch a public works academy in DC to prepare residents for jobs and infrastructure, one of the fastest growing industries in the nation. In Washington, DC, the average wage of someone working in infrastructure is $50 an hour, or about $100,000 a year. Unfortunately, what we saw in the past was about half of these jobs were going unfilled in our city. So we moved forward with our plan to create a dedicated training facility to put DC residents in these DC jobs. This week, Councilmember Silverman and Councilmember Trayon Wright were with me in Ward 8, where we cut the ribbon on the DC Infrastructure Academy. The Infrastructure Academy is a pathway to the middle class, an opportunity not to just get a job, but to build a career. Because that's what we want for Washingtonians. Not odd jobs, not sometimes jobs, but sustainable careers. So I want to thank all of the council members for their support of this bold initiative. We're on the right track, but until every resident has a fair shot, there's more work to do. And while workforce development is a powerful tool to prepare Washingtonians for a successful career, we know that the most effective method for building a strong workforce is by developing a first-class public education system. So in recent months, we know there have been bumps in the road. Frankly, there have been some pretty significant bumps in the road. But now the Band-Aid has been ripped off, and we understand better than ever the challenges we face. 10 years ago, we weren't prepared to take on those challenges. Back then, our city struggled to open schools on time. Our teachers had to create their own curricula, and students in DC struggled to keep up with their peers in other big cities. But today, things are different. National assessments no longer show our students lagging behind their peers. Our teachers have the tools and resources they need to teach. We have thoughtful programs in place for supporting and developing educators at every level. Family engagement is a top priority of teachers, participating in home visits every summer. And when you visit classrooms across the city, you see engaged students, challenging content, and educators who are teaching with the passion and love that our students need and deserve. In just the past year, we have launched Thrive by 5, My Child Care DC, ensured that all of our neighborhood middle schools offer algebra and robust programming, added a new cohort at the Ron Brown College Preparatory High School, launched RAIN, Empowering Young Women as Leaders, which will be able to expand. We will expand next year to take over a school for girls called Excel. And after 5 years with no contract, we finally reached an agreement with the Washington Teachers Union that significantly increases compensation for our educators. So Councilmember Grasso will tell you our teachers have one of the most challenging jobs in the city. And this new contract recognizes that and their great contributions to our young people. Certainly, none of us are satisfied with where we are now. But because we have made this progress, we are better positioned to take on the tough challenges we face today. I recognize that there is trust that needs to be rebuilt between our school system and parents, and systems of accountability and oversight that need to be reinforced and reviewed. And under the leadership of Interim Chancellor Amanda Alexander, who's with us tonight, we will finish this year strong and be ready to start the next one. And it's not just our elementary, middle, and high schools that we're looking out for. As President Mason likes to say, Washington, D.C. doesn't just have a pre-K3 through 12th grade public education system, but we have a pre-K through 16 and even law school and graduate school public education system. So in the upcoming budget, we are making our first installment in the UDC Equity Imperative, investing an additional $9.5 million in the University of the District of Columbia. We know that this additional investment will help President Mason right-size salaries, improve IT, but not just that. We also know that the university needs to make a significant investment in its infrastructure so that the air conditioning is on not when it's cold, but when it's hot. So we will be providing an additional $132 million in capital funds to upgrade the facilities right here at UDC. Thank you, Firebirds. So, remember Cooper. Cooper has only 3 years until it's time to enroll in pre-K3. And we were proud to present Cooper with a full ride to UDC when we met him at the hospital. So we're looking forward to ensuring that all of our schools to continue to improve for his family and the thousands of families who depend on our public schools each and every year. When I ran for office in 2014, I knew that this job came with great responsibility, but I ran because I wanted that responsibility. I didn't run to warm the seat or to avoid tough decisions. I ran because I know the spirit of our city. You know the spirit. The spirit is the one that means we fight for what's right. It means we look out for our neighbors. It means we believe in, sometimes we fall down, but we get back up, just like our Mayor for Life taught us. And of calling out injustice when we see it, but never letting it stop us from achieving our dreams. And to be able to represent these values embodied in the people of Washington, D.C., I truly believe I have the best job in the world. As I look at where Washington, D.C. stands, at our many successes and the work that is left to do, I am reminded of what Dr. King taught us. He said that if you can't fly, then you must run. And if you can't run, then you must walk. And if you can't walk, then you must crawl. But whatever you do, he said, keep moving. You have to keep moving forward. And I know that there are days when it feels like we are crawling and days when it feels like we are flying, but together in all we do, we're moving forward. So I want to thank President Ronald Mason for everybody here at UDC. I want to thank the 30,000 people who work for all of us in DC government. They get up every single day, they deliver high quality services, and they take their jobs very seriously, and they take pride in what they do. I want to thank all Washingtonians who make Washington, D.C. the greatest city in the world. There is no doubt about it, D.C. is doing well, but together we are capable of so much more. So let's stay focused, let's keep moving forward, because if we all stick together, the best is yet to come. May God bless you and the District of Columbia.